David, member of university for lawyer for with the money BBR. KNUS in Sensem. But anyway, good morning. How was the weekend?
Good morning. My weekend was okay. Now weekend no. We're done. It's some make a crabet. No pedi muye pa.
Okay, I knock down.
No pedi muye.
Wow. Interesting. Well, you listened to my interview with the PR for KNUST. Any thoughts?
USC, a very sad development. Sad not because it is something we've not seen before, but so we share maybe two or maybe three ends. One is a security implication. Security implication in the sense that your national security, and by an extension, they are to gather intelligence from every corner of this country to avert such occurrences. So, we share whole week celebration. A year annual affair. And the conduct of the various halls, the traditional halls we know, Casford, Katanga, Commonwealth, what's the name?
Unity Hall.
Unity Hall, the one we have here, what's the name? Commonwealth.
Commonwealth.
All of those ones, we know the level of violence that goes on when they are doing their hall weeks. And so, it cannot be said, the state security apparatus would not be paying attention to some of these things that happen at these places. Let's even assume that the school authorities fail to provide the needed security or the needed preparation that would have averted this. I think, the country has been flagged more or less by the security apparatus who have introduced what they call see something, say something. So at least we would expect, maybe to say a campus. Now, celebration like whole week of the Katagis should be well monitored to the extent, say, in free, baby. Cape Coast, say, move free Cape Coast, move free him. About see the kind of mayhem that has been caused there, the damage that has been caused to properties. I think we need to relook at our security arrangements. Let's touch wood. Let's assume terrorists in our campus. We have seen several of terrorist actions. What is going to happen? I mean, it cannot be so comfortable for the school authorities to say, oh, yes, securities, any akudie, and I say police for more honor. It is not so simple. Look, so long as the students are there paying, what's the name? Paying fees, they are in the custody of this school. And the school has every responsibility to ensure discipline, to ensure, Nkolano, they come and go safely. That is another end of it. What level of responsibility is the school discharging on these kids? He admitted, move for secondary school in Omaba. And he's kind of trying to throw it, more discipline, school now, secondary school levels, and attributed to their course. But look, once Omaba, the school is responsible for their safety. The school is responsible for their well-being. The parents trust says in Kolanaba school, the school can protect them and, secure them. So what is happening in the school there? This is not the first issue we've had from KNUSC. Of course, recently we saw one on Legon campus. These things are not good. They are not good for the school's image. They are not good for the look. The inner procession, the so-called occultism now, most of them. If you ask me, if the school has a good program, look, the problems occur. You must provide solutions for them. And I think say idea school no programming to curtail some of these things, it wouldn't happen. This things look more like a cultural display for me, except the violent part of it. So the school could kind of turn this into something else that will represent our culture and tradition on campus if that's what they want to do. But there must be some solution for these things. If, let's say, an idle hand find work for, the devil find work for idle hand.
Yeah.
This is what it looks like. These kids are supposed to go and study. They decide to go and be doing this cultural display. Some of them, I believe, will be engineering, science students, but they decide to do this as their extracurricular activity. The schools should find a way to accommodate this and extract the violence from it. So, I think...
But is that not why schools in the more modern, universities in across the country more modern? Say, for instance, Unity Hall and or Mayo Hall, or more Edan mixed hall and Katanga on person mixed war Accra, Legon, Hanem say Commonwealth, so that they will mix them and then it would tame, it would tone down. No. Was that not a solution?
I don't think it's enough. I think it's the easier way of doing it. The school should have a comprehensive program to contain all these things and make it look, more appealing. When I saw the procession and on the hand side, people holding bamboo, they're in clothes. It looks more like this display of African tradition. For those who believe in occultism, that's for them. But it looks more to me like, and you see it if you are a person who cherishes video works. You see the display of culture. That's what I saw there until the violence started. And I'm saying that the school could program, every activity on campus. They know these things. They know they go on. They know the violence part. Some even will tell you, oh, the violence is what makes it nice. No. I think that it looks nice the way they were dressed. The fact that they chose a particular day. We've seen a Chalewati festival over the weekend. Beautiful. It was a cultural display. People decided to even go naked and all that. Beautiful. But the violence doesn't make any sense. And the school must take charge of it. It's not to necessarily just mix boys with girls and think that there are some girls who are wilder than,
the boys.
So I think that the school, it is becoming quite evident that the school authorities, the university authorities, are not paying much attention to the students that are in their custodies. To the extent that alumni will control the school, doesn't sound well. Alumni's role in the school should be different. I mean, when I heard him saying that he discharged corporal punishment, not to have that I have anything against him, but to say that when he was at a teacher, he discharged corporal punishment and all that. Look, in civilized world, people don't even beat, but there is discipline. It's about programming. So I think that they should look at it again, and this shouldn't happen.
All right. Sammy, Akwaba. KNUST, and then says,
Sammy, I met here a phone in ATF. Na makase and semi course in our universities airtime. The beauty of what Minya can say, almost display your culture to some extent, almost tone your culture. Even what they were doing, it's not Ghanaian, although it's African, it's not Ghanaian. But me, I think, say, involved in this violence, they should be treated as criminals. Na yem punish you. And then I hear the story say, a man here, university, a hub of knowledge. Maybe I didn't want to the country's future. Na se mutimi efa mra say you go to the extent say you are destroying school properties, lecturers, any school officials, cars, wind screens, and all that. Having them to pay for the damage, it's not even enough. I think, say, it's a self prosecution. Ekoso. Look, if a 17-year-old boy, and I'm agbobroshi, no fabo the bo obi windscreen moi. Send him running in bedino. Sa na say a brand here and answer baba I didn't go school. As one go see no also or no or cause or could defend it. How be interest. Enti unia this enti means see in there be a baby idea want to developed countries. So so near my way so and you get impenifor in society alumni of some of these halls coming to as it were defend sa in a same way. You can't say yes, it's some halls from all male hall to mixed halls. Students say you be resisting. Me sure say it is about time a buying ankasa a education ministry it take special interest. Yempe long-term measures. Ya de beki or sa niema way. Instead of a bar, you see fact-finding committee, and after that, me name the ebekosi, you bear recommendations, and they throw them away. Say a drew say young men, they are almost on my brabo a year before and even after and during their university. It is the youth who share a sense of say youth and a doors room. Into your universities, you didn't call for ye PM say, Omumrame ball my own brother. Na and Neddy Omo chair say, Oma hoarding, baby on betty Eddie Omo energies, Akuni. I think say a buying and answer as of mine, we should look at long-term measures. Say hall no, and university. Your mind, esika, and your D2 and penny for universities. If as a nation, a group baby, I say, look, what is, I mean, all these Katanga fight and Casford fight, and yet, and what ben buying as of mine, how is it even shaping your mofra and the yen na your far these universities? A be shaping where we're going to and what ben a deba. Inti say a woman say sir and yema waiting na at that level of kakra I say occultism, which means I don't believe I say any power now say bibia, but in Crawford I created almost shrines in the universities so powerful. I say almost influence. I work decision be our universities in beteki halls need decisions be on beteki be no more influencer. I mean it is absolute rubbish. Me say I buy entrance say who say sa in same way all week celebration keke na in Crawford etimi free central region etu kwa ko Kumasi I say omoko take part in activities of a whole week. Now I could really say ya menya sure say the way I hear rabbit and yamano on the surface now ya be in about 2-3 months, the discussion is going to end. Even less than 2-3 months, discussion will be ending, and we'll be here near Santi BM say, look at the spate, Fiti, Legon, Enya Nidia, in just about 2 weeks, now a happen or KNUST. Offer, I think say, as I say, as of mine, and now say as the university body, Omotana say, young Busa and young Mawini na young outlaw. And found for Subia and Brain as of mine. Ukona uko di Chief Vanda na nasa uko yedi uko yese uko nebeye or mine again. And the students and nasa graduates from these universities are omonama, they can't contribute anything to the society. Say uko school now I got tenacity say mina me we yemesum me yenye say emfaso ben e dey brain as o mine and a university no any o mine yentimi na courage say young outlaws are in say who way ekoso school no hwe all those who are almost taking part in this activity, in this violence, yen treat you as criminals. Now yen starting prosecution. Then say be as deterrent, because yaka, yaka with all the fine conversations around it. The public affairs man spoke. We've heard all these things before, but as I say, a holistic approach. I say, as now the conversation should be broader. I say, emphasis na obiba na obeye say Zulu obeye say emphasis na the praying as a mind. Inti amaya oma ko menim without all these rubbish in universities.
Oh, but I know some of these, elite universities, even in the UK, which have their own traditions they perform. In other jurisdictions, I know of certain, Ivy League, universities which have their own traditions they perform during their celebrations. But for this violence, I don't think that we would classify that beautiful, ceremony, African ceremony we saw as rubbish, would we?
Me say, tradition, school biara, it will be holding on to the virtues and a young year. Na say, a man any maba where the Omaku school, I got so much influence. I say, school no decisions will be taken. Omu stanza omu take. Tradition omu ba yaba be display. Oh,
so are you suggesting that the fact is that when we use students, now administration, supposedly to be taking decisions on behalf of students.
Of course, SRC elections.
The students
SRC,
don't have a say
SRC elections.
in how the school is run.
SRC elections. Intina yo SRC. And be any say SRC. And a year school no kasama for say school no will be and now say contribution be on towards the development of the school.
We also know that SRC sometimes have taken decisions that are unpopular with the students, and the students have kicked against their support of the system in the implementation of certain laws.
I agree.
So they have rights.
I agree. But Unia, they may come as a case to say, beyond some display, I'm kind now say, oh, Nina and you be ma to be migusu to be. But maybe say it goes beyond what we just see. I say, in Crawford are becoming lords within the university. And now, yes, they revere them so much. I say, near Omubeke Bia. I say, me ba Olegon, one is of I, hall tutor, any hall master, and a sofa. In the area, I don't know. The students now taking part actively in the violence. What happens to them? Omu share change so no share a manche ni kutupa. I say omunya di omu ye no. What happens to them? But a buy ye no. Hwe sa knee-jerkism. Ya hwe ye nyi we ensi nche answer. Ene ekosi sen. Me see enye mani bi wo ho a some of the practices are course wo university no. Maybe say fine, granted. Ivy League universities, they go through all these things. And more ben na di brain as of mine, entity ben na di nkwala no free muba as of mine. They come out and walk the streets omuntimin dream even for themselves. They come out and walk the streets, forming unemployed associations. I am saying, say, energies in the university should be channeled to fruitful ends. And yes, and I'm telling you, because of what the school. Yeah. So we are calling crowd now say make kwama kwa. So what could now say uko kwama university hall. Uko pie glass, akwa pie ebo. Look, you can define what becomes of Sankofuwe later in life. Intermediate they make cases when they say the university of mine yentina say. Na yen hwehwe say e kwan ben ene ye befa so say ye emma ensi ebiem enye say ye ba be ye no ni abetena ase ni abeka and the universities all these things are still there almost started they are meeting they are doing their own things. One thing I am me dream one is say I say oh mine no yen dream because and then security, and moving from brute force to intelligence gathering. Nti yetimi tena ho sɛ nkwala yetimi ɛyɛ saa nneɛma wei nyinaa at the blind side of the police, knowing very well say there is a history. Our whole week be celebration. I was the same university. Problem say nobody gathered any intelligence. Obia enhu saa nneɛma wei ɛsɛ ɛkɔ so national security ntimi enhu pa na de bia firefighting etu wie no na ya to police egu hɔ. Police for no at a point we share videos na police for ni bi kra edwane akɔhyɛ ɔmo cars mu because your history Islamic University asemi ebaye you see the police was high-handed nti ɔmo ankasa na ɔmo kɔ no young army police no they just went there knowing very well say hwɛ look at videos are a rolly into tradition kuna you see preserve for universities no and only look but it is normally characterized with these things.
No, if you see the earlier video,
No.
I've seen videos
This is not
that were
the tradition we see. on
This is
campuses.
violence. This is pure violence.
This is not the tradition on the
violence.
campuses.
This is violence.
This is violence.
Okay, so
This is violence.
and if every
So
year
so with chants,
Every year-
with singing,
Oh.
and those with processions, we do those.
Beautiful.
But
Maybe-
yes,
maybe
that's the
Sami
tradition.
hasn't
But this
seen
is
those
this is
videos,
not it.
but
for me
I'm
I
sure-
think this is a tradition.
No, this is not the
No,
tradition.
this can't be a
Okay.
No,
tradition.
this is not
Violence
the
can be
tradition.
a tradition.
No, this is not it.
Violence is a tradition for terrorists,
This is not it. This is not
for criminals.
Hwɛ-
This is what is happening.
hwɛ-
here.
hwɛ.
This is not a
this is not
tradition.
it.
Hwɛ.
This is not it.
Eja nyinaa yɛto.
Uh,
Nti next whole week we will come discussing this again.
We
Well,
should
there have been several whole weeks before this one happened.
And
that
there
we
have
not
been a
heard
lot
anything.
of whole weeks and so on in same way ACC.
Dave, now person make a comment. Be infam boxing with a Yoko. One more penny our because number one sense no. And Mera will be jina so at the prosecution is here and walk away. Ayena and into no number one day. Say men's group for no air train prosecution be there. That's it.
That comment time person me FR school what the incidents at the incident at Kenya University he said I was talking about programming. I said problem there a country which is progressive or a community which is progressive always has to look at solution for problems, and this is purely obviously a problem. Somewhere else what I have seen is that we're quite advanced countries now. Universities like this, even the secondary schools and the primaries and all that, you have what we call quality assurance unit. And this quality assurance unit is to look at, it's normally independent. So they look at the interest of the student vis-a-vis the interest, let me say the interest of the stakeholders on campus. So for instance, when he says that we have data of every student, what you do with data when you have them is to be able to study and understand the students. So this is how the school look like. The quality assurance unit is able to assess every student, assess situations on campus, and advise the administration. The other way is to also assess what happens administratively, how it affects the student, and advise on it. And so this unit, quality assurance unit, I think we should probably be looking there and establish something like that. If they are already there, we should look at it properly and define a role that is independent of the school, the students, and independent of the school's administration. It's actually helped to bring some balance and kind of cut this odd stuffs away out of the school. So I think we should be looking at it progressively and to avoid some of these things. That's why that's what I wanted to add. On the Tiwa and Nam1 issue, you know, the more we hear these things, the more it looks like we are joking in this country and that we don't take things serious. And any country who doesn't take things like this serious remain poorer in development and in every other thing. Look, if you ask me, should Tiwa be in charge of EOCU? I would say no, hell no. She doesn't deserve it. If you watch her track record from the police, when she was serving in the police to CID director and all that, it's all been problem. You have heard the tape of A+. You have heard where the Takoradi missing kids issue happened. His inconsistency, his flip-flopping in his submissions and all that, till we were told one day that the children were actually, they found bodies and all that. As we sit here now, it's still a mystery. Now you have had Tiwa. It's been alleged that she was the one coaching, people in the present infamous the Canadian Gesawa Bruni issue. I mean, how can you have people, public officers, who are supposed to have the state's interest, be the coaches of, perhaps, coaching people against in the interest of crimes and all that? That is awkward. Now, back to the issue where matter is in court. Okay, Ntiwa had played huge roles in this #1 issue when it arose, where the Bank of Ghana, sanctioned these banks, and including Men's Gold. If you recall, Tiwa, as CID director, they were investigating these things. And from the start of it, everybody said, look, there is no way this matter, it looks like government has any interest in it. They were just, fanfooling everyone. They were just, it's just a PR gimmick to take this guy to court. And the chickens are coming home to roost. That the person in charge of Yoko, even as the matter is before court, has come out to say that Adeno Nkosifi, it won't end anyway. That the people who thought that Namwan was doing anything wrong, there is no law to prosecute Namwan. Haven't people said this initially? They said it. And they didn't say it because they believe in it. They said it because they know government is not interested in this matter. If you trace back to the days when this whole Namwan issue happened, look, they are politicians. Some of them have been covered. The real issues behind this Namwan issue, some of them have been covered. And I am only praying that someday we'll open these books again on the closure of these banks, and what Tiwa is more or less now telling us is a charade. The prosecution of Namwan is a charade. That's what he's telling us. Okay, what is terrible about it is that the matter is before court. Tiwa is a government official. Government is spending taxpayers' money to prosecute this matter. And even before they brought a closure to it from the court, she is prejudicing the matter, saying that, look, those of you who think that the court is going to come out with something, forget it. It's not going to happen. This is what Tiwa says summarily. And I think that it doesn't help the cause of government. It doesn't help the cause of governance. And it is an insult to the judicial system. So, I don't know. We have a president who sees nothing, who says nothing, and who smells nothing. Everything is very good under his administration. So, we'll watch till, God willing, if God graces us someday with a government that is progressive, a president that, really want to serve the people, some of these things will be taken care of.
Sorry?
Quite interesting. I think now one is same way. You can say we need a whole day because even after Ninsem Semi by Republic, you publish here. I say a drew baby and I'm one assign cry a cookie another scheme. I a friend in Mikado. Na or say wow come if you are through the men's school at the end. One of the ways I would be juicy can say Obe join us Mikado winner Yebema Oka. In for out of desperation, any way to collect their monies, no. Of us, our coin so any allies be Eddie Jinko Fusika. Yeah, who did they, but say the police was not interested in whatever it was. Secondly, I think listening to Tiwa Adudankwa, make us say it was quite unfortunate. Although one can say Iyoko is no longer interested in pursuing the matter. But say as of the time now, no Kasano, they were still struggling to look for a particular law. One page here. It is quite worrying. I'm one person. I believe in due process. I say the TBR no, the one of President Mills's quotes. I say grinding slowly. What I say, but one of the institutions as of mine are very dear to my heart, judiciary, because Nkrofo utie Nancy recent service it tells you how Nkrofo are losing hope in systems, in parliament, in the executive. What I say, into your last point of call, judiciary, into say a man for nunsu drew baby no say masemi kra me de ko anase me de famra kwan so a enya ade a bibia be free mu aba it becomes quite worrying nti the statement ma me no minim say over the years ni career about 15 years she's been dealing with financial fraud and all these things nti we're prosecuting such cases in court before nti ebia there's something she's seen but I don't think say we asema wa beji now account because I'm sure the Attorney General is also working very hard. Say, you be pay charges be about number one because say number one case apart from emotions are attached to it. Niyama anka yesese yenina yetina say as a country na yedisua adie because it may be number one there was another gentleman who saw about so ono nso introduce BB as say no no so be yes or the coin be gold coin be back out quickly me who say Bank of Ghana be shooting it down say enye ade at the papa bia say e di achi enti as for prosecution there in fact if they are saying say omo finding a leg to stand on to prosecute Namwana as a layman I find it quite worrying and surprising. I say ya yenim they see ya friend say a Ponzi scheme. So are we saying say yenim rebia a boy a man as a man for from such schemes? And yet then it is quite worrying. Any beer as I say a shushe bibi edika ye mrane ho because I say na che fine me I am not one of the people because young copy being cogin nam one, sikan free nam one ho emre omo modio musicano. Because nam one in semi there are records. I say ye bo a man for coco, a man for be pray or ye bomb coco. I say adia muye. Na me maybe mitrasi police in Libya no introducing men's gold. I say me ama me na mbisa say man papa into wow sha scheme bang returns are muklemi se munya. Akwaye oni nam hwe a ose ono timi koche otumfo gold okọ otumfo so okoche no gold chain mo amu hu se eye bibia na but that doesn't also mean say obi ehu akoka adwamu sai no aban behwe na tra say at least so mo so nko mo sika kra knowing say nam one has been dealt with. Now one has been punished. That alone, but the man is just walking all over the place. They see him partying, you see he's seizing the properties, but properties no baby a seize what the ecosi here.
All the properties have been taken by. If you, I did a report some time ago. The EOCO, when the property, the vehicles were there, some national security operatives sold the properties.
Just imagine. Oh, and yes, sir. A ha a drink because a man for no 80 and some say, including what David has just added. No, not just a man. No, I say, Emra anyhow.
All right.
Emra anyhow. A yummy yapa say the woman came out to preempt, and I say, or bar out, ebe chair say, one move hobia say, nam one. So far, up to now, for over how many years? No, yenya emrebia. There were times where no court in the crowd. Now one was not attending court. Not on my court, because on shada the seriousness in the matter. Inti besine obinsus I'm very sure say obinsu tina hosa cookie a similar scheme. The bawo wrong a half region a buying absorb sa a kai etuayi. Inti anche and I'm sure say all those guys no mu yes adiano. Omuni nam ho. Kakra na eka ya omutimi di see no they will be enjoying it inti ade na embolden enkrofo say ade wo ya even coming from madam say ade wo ya kra no a emra bia ni ho a ebetwe waso wo ya emra bia up till now yentimi define what Nam1 did na yenya a set of laws to prosecute Nam1 then I think it is very, very worrying.
Yeah.
It is very, 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 very worrying.
Politics.
Very, very worrying.
You know, the politicians, there are politicians who have chopped down amount of money. They've chopped the money. The money he took from the people, somebody has chopped it. Because other than that, it's simple. So, the simple. So we are there. It's when you take the person's something that doesn't belong to you, and want it to make yours and deprive the person of it permanently. That is the simple definition of say why we are there. Well, so can't you see this in what Nam1 did?
Well,
so if the politicians come to tell you say on your share, I mean,
with the views that you guys are expressing, there's just one thought that always keeps ringing in my ears. You remember the time at Nam1, now old trader SEC at this statement we by said he had no license to trade in that business he was in. Nam1 challenged them. You remember? And then later on, he retracted. He retreated.
With his lawyer, Kwame Akufu.
Yes, they retreated on that position. And see, even with that alone, I'm surprised we're being told them maybe anyway they be prosecuting. But yeah, but now
check the people who have been what's the name? Have been counsels, attorneys of Nam1. Check their trail.
Well, yeah, but
when monies were supposed to be paid from Dubai, where the money is go. Check all those things. I mean, we are not children here.
Anyway, yeah, but